welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Joy podcast. I'm your host, Ash Couchman, and I cannot wait to find moments of joy with you today. Look, myself and the guests that I've had on all week, we are two chatty gals, so we're going to dive straight into the episode. Let's get ready to hear today's words to live by.
But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. Jeremiah 17:7.
Wonderful. Kate, so great to have you.
So great to be
on
here.
The podcast.
Can't believe it's the last day of the
I know.
week. My gosh.
Wrapping it up.
Boop, boop.
I've been asking a few people this periodically because I think it's very interesting.
Okay.
And I want to find out how you feel about this topic that I'm quite passionate about. That topic is matcha. Do you like matcha? Are you into matcha? No. No one likes matcha.
It's weird. I don't even like green tea.
See, I don't love green tea, but I quite enjoy a matcha. My question is, have you had a good matcha?
Probably not.
Okay.
And do I pick it anywhere where I go? No, because I maybe I have a bias against matcha. I just think, why would I have that when I can have a flat white or a...
It's true. I would say
I feel challenged. Next time I go to a cafe and they have it, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, well, tell me what cafe you go to first, because I would say I think I said this to Shaylee a little while ago. I was like, Shaylee, you definitely can have a bad matcha and it'll scar you for life, and you won't. You'll think you hate matcha. So maybe I'll one day I'll bring in some matchas from a good place and I'll get everyone to try them and try and convince everyone that they're great.
Okay. All right. Well, challenge accepted. Every so often I like to try all the things that I don't like.
Well, you know what?
And give them a go again.
I spoke about this a few weeks ago you can get like these strawberry matchas with like vanilla foam on top. Oh, wow. So they're like green tea but strawberry and like vanilla-y. So I'll have to organize a time to do it.
I'm sure I like Starbucks and I'm sure they'll have one there, whether that will be a good one or not.
I haven't had it at Starbucks, so I'm not sure. We'll have to suss it out.
I'll get back to you, Barry, on that one.
I'm just trying to convert the world to matcha drinkers. But I do love coffee. I think matcha has become my secondary drink. Okay. Like, I don't necessarily love having another coffee midday, but I'd love a matcha.
Sure.
So,
I get you.
Just trying to convince people.
The Bible doesn't say anything about matcha.
No, it doesn't.
But it does say about drinking.
It does.
And sustenance and food and, drink, anyway.
Nothing about matcha.
Trying to tie it together.
The segue. This verse, but blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. What comes to mind when you hear this?
Are you okay if I go a bit deep?
Go for it.
I mean, not that I ever don't do that.
You're quite good at it.
My mum, Liz, was an incredibly wonderful woman, but she died way too soon at 52.
Wow.
When I was 25.
That's my age.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So she's been gone a really long time. I remember being right after she died, I remember being in a worship kind of time at the YWAM base, and it was this moment of, my mum has just died. What even the heck is happening? God, I prayed the prayers. I believed. I trusted you. You said that you're a healer. What is going on? There was just so much grief and confusion and a bit of shock because it came quite quickly, and it was like I got given like a serious fork in the road, even in that early space. Not that I could maybe never have come back, but the choice was, I either say, God, you're not a healer, you didn't heal my mum, and blame him for the woes of the world, or I say, God, you are a healer, I don't understand what you're doing. This is really, use a swear word. That's the only time really I use the swear words. It's just, when things are really tough. But like, what are you doing? I don't understand this, but I'm going to keep pursuing you.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I chose that second moment. And this verse is all about, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, his confidence is in him. And I thought about that, about why I was able to make that choice to say, God, I'm still going to pursue you. I'm going to still trust you. Yeah. Even though when he didn't heal my mum, in the physical, practical thing of her still being here. And I reflected on it. And I think for me, the thing that made the difference was that I'd spent the last 5 or 10 years discovering who God was and allowing that to be the cornerstone of my life. Right. Do I know it all yet? Am I still, it says we'll never know all the fullness, like we're always discovering, of course. But I had to stand on the fact that, God, you are a healer.
Yeah.
I don't understand why she didn't get healed, but I can't let that tell me that you aren't a healer. I can't let my lack of provision or answer in an area to say, God, you're not a provider.
Yeah.
I can't let my disappointment in other people, I'm still single, I'd like to get married, like that lack of that to say, well, God, you don't care about my future. I have to be able to say, God, you care about my future. Help me to understand what's going on in this situation. Yeah. God, you are a healer. Give me insight into what you were doing in Mum's body. And I actually I say hilariously because it brought me so much joy. About 3 months after she died, I just was like, God, death is so weird because she's not here, but she could be in China and I could never hear from her again. But it's totally different because I know that she's gone. And I was like, where is she? I'm trying to comprehend, like, where is she? What's happening? What is she doing? She is so precious to me. And I like the whole thing. Death is just so weird because it just doesn't make sense. It's so significant.
Our minds
can't wrap around it. And Jesus said to me, oh, she's hanging out with me. And I remember I felt like I almost fell on the floor with like, what does that mean? That Mum to hang out with Jesus, like fully hang out. And we talked earlier this week about this whole things that separate us. And I was like, she doesn't have any of that separation. And it totally opened up this delight in eternity. And I get goosebumps every time I say it. Whoa, that's what we're made for. We're made for this hanging out 24/7, constant intimacy with him. And I'm so grateful that I still wrestled with him and said, Jesus, I'm having a really hard day. I'm not okay with this. But I was able to separate my pain and disappointment with what I know to be true about him. And I can't, say that that's going to be, it has to be everyone's journey. But my encouragement for those listening is we're all going to have triumph and tragedy in our lives. And I actually wrote a song, and one of my favorite lines in that song is that there's no guarantee that triumph and tragedy will be fair to us. It's not like, well, you've had 5 minutes of pain, now you're going to have 5 minutes of joy. There's no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But if we can spend time saying, God, show me who you are, teach me about your faithfulness, about your kindness, about who you are, and then I can let that be the solid rock on which I stand, then when that tragedy comes, you can look at it through the lens of who my God is, rather than looking at God through the lens of my pain. I've seen people in my life one lady that I knew growing up, her beautiful 19-year-old gem of a daughter died sadly in a car crash on the way home from her retail job, and for the next 20 years she wore it like a wound, like a cloak. She never moved past it. It affected her relationship with God. Her marriage broke up. Everything became about this pain. It defined her life. And I do remember going, I don't want to be like that. I have to choose you, God. I don't want that to be the defining thing of my life.
Wow.
And so this thing of how do we trust in the Lord? Well, he's shown himself to be faithful because we've walked the journey together. I think you don't just trust a stranger with your, hey, can you hold my phone? Or hey, can you look after my children? Like I might say, Ash, can I borrow your car? I've got to go to the shops. Maybe we've known each other enough that you might say, go for it. But you don't do that to a stranger. Totally. And so it takes time, relational development to build that trust. And I would probably say without a doubt, if I hadn't have gone on that journey of discovering parts of who God is, then I probably would have walked away or at least said, well, God, this isn't who you are, and it would have had a big impact.
Wow.
And this verse is about confidence in him and trust in him comes from that journey of discovery. And I kind of like how all the verses this week are about this whole thing of we have to get to know each other and we've got to get to know God. And how do we do that? Through his word, through asking people, Ash, how does this work for you? When did you discover this? How did you learn to hear God's voice? All of those things. It's maybe as big as someone dying or as small as a prayer not answered in the way that we thought it would. But do we know who God is?
Yeah.
And are we looking at him through the lens of that pain, or are we looking at the pain through the lens of who he is?
Okay, I think that's incredible. And as you're saying, I started to tear up as you were saying that. But mine's probably, a bit different as well, because I feel like I'm going to sob if I start talking about it too much. I think just hearing you talk about the reality of what God spoke to you in that season, of the death and being with Jesus, it is, like we talked about earlier in the week, it's not this thing of you get to be so close to Jesus where there's no pain and there's no hardship and we're not separated and that spirit and the flesh isn't wrestling. And I think that picture that you just sort of shared, that you got, that gave you that joy, it's a different train of thought to what you were saying, but I've been dealing with this walk of being deeply afraid of death and deeply afraid of getting sick and all these things. And it's not because I don't love Jesus, it's just that I've seen people around me not have those prayers answered or not have those things done. And I think that I've really wrestled with God on a lot of these things and maybe not had an answer. And I'm sure you still have moments where you go, God, I'm grateful you gave me that thing, but I don't know yet or have a full answer or understanding of anything that happened. But I think as you said that, it just, for the first time in a really long time, gave me this picture and this piece about the plans that God has, and that it doesn't matter, and that God is good, and that we can be confident in him. Because even if what we picture as the worst possible outcome happens, you're talking about the joy and the goodness that sits in there. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to be sniffing into the microphone.
We're both wiping some tears away.
But I think it's a beautiful picture, and I'm sure that you're not the only one who's, there's someone listening today who's walked a similar journey, or maybe you're sitting in my seat and you've been fearful of that. But I just think the way you shared that, Kate, of that God is trustworthy, and that no matter what, we can trust him, even if things don't look how we thought. I think I have this habit that I'm trying to break, where if the ducks aren't in their row, it's okay, because God's will is greater and his ways are greater and his thoughts are higher than mine, and
we only see in part.
Totally. Yeah. And so I just thank you for sharing that. I didn't expect to to kind of have this reaction. I know, have this reaction to it. But it's just so nice to go, you know what? God is good. And even when things are hard, he's good. And even if it doesn't look how we thought, he's good. And it's okay to be sad about it. And it's okay to struggle with it and wrestle with God.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the fact that you got to that point where you're like, God, I have two options here. I've got this crossroad. I'm either going to choose you and trust you, or I'm going to blame you and walk away from you. And I think even just hearing you share and hearing you talk, that, God's plans for you have always been so great and so big and so full. And I feel like I know a slither of what of what God has had for you and has for you. And so, yeah, I just think God just knows, hey, and we don't see it all, but he does. And we can trust him with confidence and put our confidence in him no matter what. So thank you for sharing, Kate.
Pleasure.
I did not expect to get that emotional about that.
My final thought of all of that is in that trust, there was so much wrestling. It was kind of like pulling the hard topic out of the basket, and now it's on. We are talking, we're in the arena, we're fighting, but then at the end we get out of it, we take off our gloves, we put it down, and now we have a cup of tea, and now we hug, and we have that. And so it was only for moments that I would wrestle, but then I could put that down and then have this intimacy in relationship, and then we would wrestle, and then I would rail at God, and I would go, I don't understand, I do that, and then I would put that away, and then we would have this intimacy.
It's like he was your hiding place as well as your while
otherwise
you're wrestling
you can't
it out.
see God because all you see is the lens of your disappointment and pain. And I thought that would be the worst thing, to lose my relationship with the Lord because of this, like, because he's the one that our father and mother forsake us. We have no one else but him. And I thought that's going to be the greatest loss, even more than losing my mum, would be to lose that with him. And so for those going in things like this, take it out of the basket, put those gloves on, wrestle with him, get into that match, scream, yell, rail at him. He's okay. He knows he's strong enough to carry that. And then get out of the ring, put the gloves away, and then hug. And have that intimacy. That is the lament and the love song, which is, David talked about that. God, why have you put me in this place? And yet my hope and my trust is in your unfailing love.
And sometimes I think we find that hope once we step out of that place, and we actually need to go to that place to see God's love and to experience it. Man.
We should have said tissue warning at the beginning.
I know. Oh man, I'll just quickly wrap it up. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. Jeremiah 17 verse 7. Man, Kate just said to me we probably should have done a tissue warning at the start of this episode, which I did not do. So if you're like us and are having a bit of a tear session, go grab your tissues. But God is so good and he is so faithful. And I love that thought that Kate closed with, just to wrap us up. You need to get into the wrestle, but you also need to trust him. Because I think for me, I've seen people do the wrestle, but not the restoration, not the rest in him as well. And so make sure there's the balance of both. Don't just wrestle. Make sure you go to him, make him your refuge, and make sure you rest and know that he does love you, even when you're battling those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions. Keep him at the center. I hope you have enjoyed this week's episode. I have loved having Kate on the podcast with me.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. And until next week, pray you're able to find moments of joy.